You can be broken and still date. In fact, you can be broken and have a phenomenal dating experience. It all comes down to how much you're willing to put yourself out there, how good you are at recovering from getting hurt, and just overall the amount of personal development that you put into yourself to become a better human being over time. Because, yeah, you can have a great dating experience while being broken. In fact, I'm not even really convinced that it's possible to ever be fully healed. I don't think we as human beings can ever really attain that, because that's almost like being perfect in a way, right? Like, usually we're still going to have some form of insecurity that's still in the back of our minds. We're probably still going to be affected by our childhood trauma to some extent. But you can work on greatly diminishing the way that these things interact with you, the way that they affect your actions, your behavior, the way that they hold you back in the end. So the more that you're willing to do the difficult work, to grow and become a better human being, the more that your dating experiences will be a lot better moving forward. I wanted to discuss this because recently one of my great friends was telling me about this woman that he was seeing, who he was really looking forward to dating some more and getting to know more about her, but she unfortunately turned out to be rather emotionally unavailable and ended up basically ghosting him. And this guy is probably one of the best men that I know. Like, in fact, I often wager he puts more work in himself than even I do. Like, I haven't really encountered many people like that, but he's pretty much on that level. Like, he takes time every single day to work on something that he wants to improve about himself. And he met this woman who seemed really great, really fantastic. When he was telling me about her, I was almost like, holy crap, dude, like, I wish I was meeting women like that. She sounded incredibly rare. But she was broken. And even though that's not the worst thing, like I said, you can create a fulfilling dating experience even while you're broken. She hadn't put in that work to make that a possibility. So he was telling me about all these beautiful things they shared between themselves, how many things they had in common, and yet none of it really mattered because she wasn't ready to meet him where he was at. And I've heard that story countless times. I've even experienced it myself more times than I wish I had, and it's really unfortunate. It was making me think about how kind of sad it is that so many people don't work on themselves enough to be able to date well even while they're broken. Because as I said earlier, I don't fully believe we can ever be completely healed. So we're all going to be broken to some extent when we're putting ourselves out there in the dating world. But a lot of people haven't done that foundation level work that allows them to date well from that place of being broken. So in this video, I want to share with you some things that will hopefully help you do just that, so that you can be different from that woman that my friend met, because he's such a great dude that, like, any woman who is able to capture him, like, she's pulling probably one of the best men out there. And this woman who encountered him probably doesn't even realize how great of a guy she just missed out on. So you don't want to be like her. You want to be better able to spot great partners and not be so broken that you ruin things with them, that you self-sabotage and end up missing out on someone who may very well be a once-in-a-lifetime partner for you. So let's dive into how you can date better from that place of being broken. The first thing you're going to want to do is working on having the courage to put yourself out there again. I mean, like I said earlier, we're all pretty much broken. None of us are completely healed. So you can put yourself out there just like many other people do. There are so many people out there who are broken and still having a good dating experience because they have that courage to keep putting themselves out there, even after they've gotten rejected or broken up with. They don't take it personally, because you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. Rejection and breakups often are way more about the other person than they are you. I've often said you could be like one of the best people out there, literally like the objectively best partner for someone, and they could still reject you. For so many reasons too. Like, rejection is such a nuanced thing. There's so many ways, like almost infinite reasons why people could reject you. Even if you're like an incredible person and you would be a perfect match for them. You can even literally get rejected because someone believes that you're better than them. That's crazy, right? But it's because if they believe that you're better than them, it will trigger their insecurities, their fear of abandonment. They'll believe that at some point you will leave them because you're close to perfect in their eyes, and they know that they themselves are not anywhere near perfect. So they try to save themselves future pain by breaking up with you or rejecting you sooner rather than later, so that their fear of you eventually rejecting them never becomes a reality. So just knowing that, don't take rejection personally. Like, just please don't. There's so many factors on why someone may reject you that it's just not worth it. You never fully know unless they have the emotional maturity to tell you, which I don't think I've ever, well, okay, maybe in high school I've had girls back then tell me why they rejected me, but as an adult, I don't think a woman's ever been fully honest with me about why she rejected me. So yeah, you're probably not going to get those answers that you want. So just be able to move on without them, and do not take it personally, please. Like, I can say one thing here that's probably going to hold true across the board, which is, if you spend the time to work on yourself, if you focus on your own personal growth and development, I can pretty much say you are probably a better partner out there than most people. You are probably going to be a good catch for people who encounter you. Why? Because so few people do that. Look around you. How many people actually seem like they're focusing on becoming a better human being over time? Not many, right? So if you're on that journey yourself, you are very likely going to be a catch for the right person. So don't take rejection personally. Don't trip over it. If someone breaks up with you, just don't view it as the end of the world. Don't think that there's anything wrong with you, because there probably isn't. People can reject you for all sorts of reasons, so it's just not worth even diving into that. Just take it for what it is. It's them saying you and them are not compatible. Just say, okay, thank you for that information, and move on. You can choose whether or not you want to stay in touch with them, but it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, just do what's best for you and keep marching forward. So once you've worked on your mindset surrounding rejection and breakups like that, it should make it a bit easier for you to put yourself out there, because now you're not going to be fearing rejection. You won't really be fearing getting your heart broken so much. And another thing that can help you work on getting over heartbreak is just recognizing what you bring to the table. Because so often we're only thinking about that other person. We think they're like amazing, right? We think they're the best person ever, that they're going to make our lives so much better and provide so much meaning and fulfillment and beauty. And often that's not really true, especially if they haven't really worked on becoming a better human being. Like, the odds of them fulfilling all those things for you are probably pretty low. So rather often we overestimate what the other person can bring to our lives, and we underestimate what we bring to the table. So we think the other person is up here and we're down here. And rather often it's usually more like something around here, like we're pretty neck and neck. Or like I said earlier, if you work on yourself and they don't, it may even be more like this, with you being up here. So just remind yourself of what you bring to the table, recognize your worth. Don't use this to become like arrogant or narcissistic or anything stupid like that. It's just that you want to be able to actually know what you bring to the table. It makes it easier to handle heartbreak, because you'll recognize that you are a catch as well. And sometimes if someone rejects you or breaks up with you, it's more their loss than it is yours, because you may be a rarer person than they are. So just try to think about that more often. Recognize what you bring to the table, know your worth, have that level of self-respect, so you can handle heartbreak a lot easier, to the point that it won't hold you back from putting yourself out there. All right, so now with that foundational level kind of protection against rejection and heartbreak, the next thing you're going to want to work on is the mindset that will help you put yourself out there more, or at least motivate you to putting yourself out there more. So let me share with you my mentality regarding dating in the hopes that will help you as well, because I truly do believe that relationships are the most fulfilling experiences out there, the most meaningful ones. I truly believe that in our human experiences that may last around 80 years or so for each of us, the most fulfilling things are probably going to be our relationships with other people. Not always romantic, of course, but the romantic ones have the highest amount of meaning that they can provide, because there's so many different dynamics to them that we don't get from our platonic relationships with our friends and family members. So romantic relationships, I truly believe, are like the height of human experience. So I don't think it's worthwhile to get to a point where you allow your fear, your pain to hold you back so much that you completely shut yourself off from ever being able to find someone good for you, where you choose to opt out of the dating game. I almost view that as like a a way of kind of giving up on life in general and happiness to some extent, because you're robbing yourself of all this beauty and meaning in the world from romantic relationships. You're saying that you don't have the courage to tackle the heartbreak and rejection that may very well be on the horizon to obtain this beautiful, meaningful, fulfilling experience here. Because just like building a business where you're going to fail countless times until you finally succeed, that holds true with dating as well. You will get your heart broken. You will get rejected many times until you finally meet that one person who makes your life incredibly better, who heightens your own experience. But I find that worth it. I mean, I did study entrepreneurship, so I already have that mentality that like I will keep throwing my head against the wall until I finally succeed at something, until I finally break through the wall, because I know it's only a matter of time. If you never give up on something, it's only a matter of time before you succeed, unless your approach is like completely bad and it's like the wrong approach in every way. But very often that's not quite going to be the case. As long as you're somewhat smart about it, you're probably going to be doing something that will have a measure of success behind it. So do that same thing with dating. Don't give up on it. Know that, yeah, there will be plenty of roadblocks along the way. There will be plenty of people that you like and things don't work out with them. There will be plenty of instances where you get hurt. But to me, all of that is worth it if it means it gets me closer to finding that one person who can basically be my life partner, where she and I will be tackling the world together, both making our lives a lot better and kind of being like the cherry on top of an already delicious cake, where we don't need each other, but having each other is incredibly meaningful and worth it because it adds that little bit more to both of our life experiences. So that's just the way I view dating. I think it's always worth it to continue to put myself out there. I would say I've never really gotten my heart broken per se, because usually I'm just so picky when it comes to dating that I don't really go after women that I couldn't see myself marrying. I know this sounds old school, but hey, it's the way I go about dating. I just don't think it's worth it if there's no future with a woman. And so often I meet women that don't quite meet what I'm looking for, so I won't continue seeing them. Or if I do meet a woman who I believe is worthy of marrying, I end up finding out that she isn't exactly on that level and I was wrong about her, and it sucks. So I've never really gotten my heart broken because I've never been able to find a woman who met my criteria and it actually lasted long enough for me to get my heart broken. Usually things don't get to that point because I just don't find what I'm looking for, and I end up realizing that a woman who I thought was great isn't quite as great as I initially expected. And it sucks. It's just one of those things. But even with all that, I would never give up on dating. I have been hurt before, of course, so I'm no stranger to that. There have been plenty of times where I'm incredibly disappointed because, yeah, I'll meet women that, like I said, I thought I could potentially marry, and then realizing that that's not the case sucks, because I've even met women who were on the journey of becoming better. They were working on growing. Like, they actually focused on personal development. And that, to me, every woman who is like that is almost like a unicorn to me, because it's just so freaking rare, or at least from my experience, it's incredibly rare. So whenever I meet a woman like that and it doesn't work out with her, I'm like devastated for a bit. It almost makes me stop dating for like a few weeks until I recover, because I'm just like, what the heck? Like, come on, universe. Like, you finally gave me a woman who works on herself and she's just not on quite the same level. Like, if only she was maybe 2 more years into that journey, it would have been perfect. And yeah, it's almost like right person, wrong time type things. But even with all that, I would never give up on dating. So hopefully me sharing my mindset there can help you on that as well. And then the last tip I want to share with you to help you become a more conscious dater, even when you're broken, to still have success while dating from that broken perspective, is to work on spotting red flags better and then acting on them. That last part is key, because many of us actually are pretty decent at spotting red flags, but the problem is we overlook them, we ignore them, we allow someone's physicality, their beauty, to lead us astray. We think, oh my God, this person's so incredibly attractive, or maybe they're charming, maybe it's more their personality, maybe they're magnetic, so we overlook their red flags. And then we later on end up getting hurt and realizing that we wasted our time. So I urge all of you to get better at spotting red flags in the first place. And remember, red flags are deal breakers, right? Like, they're not warning signs. They're not things that annoy you but that you can live with. No, Red flags are deal breakers. These are things that if you spot them, they tell you this relationship would never work or that it's going to end at some point. That's what red flags are. They're not just like, oh, he burps out loud occasionally and I don't like that. No, that's not a red flag. The red flag is something more akin to this person has cheated in the past, recently maybe, and oh, that means they could probably cheat on me. Something like that. Something that's telling you the odds of this relationship succeeding are incredibly low. Pay attention to those. Now, once you are good at spotting red flags, now you need to work on acting on them better, on having the courage to walk away. Pretty much as soon as you see a red flag, that tells you that you do need to walk away. Remember, these are deal breakers. These are things saying that the relationship won't work. So why are you going to keep putting time and energy into this other person? You know there's no future with them. So any more time and energy you put into that is basically wasted. You're cutting yourself off from being able to invest that same time and energy into someone who's a better fit for you, someone where there may be an actual future with them, someone who could be more like your life partner. So why would you want to keep spending those valuable resources, time? You can never get more time. So why would you want to waste that on someone that you know it isn't going to work out with? Unless you're okay with pursuing something short-term, which you need to figure that out on your own for yourself. And don't lie to yourself either. Like, please, get good at that as well. You don't want to lie to yourself saying that, oh, I can handle this, but in reality, you actually don't want it. You need to become clear on what you're actually looking for, what you want, so that you can be more conscious when you're dating and not waste your time. So if you spot a red flag, you have to understand this means your best decision is to walk away, to leave, to tell that person, hey, look, I enjoyed spending time with you, but I'm looking for something a bit different, and leaving, because that's the right move to make. You do not want to ignore red flags. Just please, for the love of God, that is why so many people waste their time when dating, because they ignore red flags or they don't even spot them. So you need to get good at both of these things, spotting them and then acting on them. That is how you can save yourself from future pain when dating. Just being able to vet people really quickly and realize whether or not there's someone you should invest any time and energy into. And you need to be honest about this. You need to realize when you could also be self-sabotaging. Maybe sometimes we could even fabricate a red flag because we're afraid of someone hurting us, rejecting us. So we think something about them is a red flag when it actually isn't, so that we can have that way of self-sabotaging and excusing ourselves so that there's no possibility of us getting hurt. You need to also be good at spotting that behavior when you're holding yourself back, when you're self-sabotaging because of your own fear of abandonment or fear of getting hurt or rejected, whatever it may be, because we can definitely hold ourselves back in that way as well. So basically, at the end of the day, you just really want to work on your mindset and put in that foundation to be able to tackle dating from a better place, even when you're broken. You do not need to be healed. You just need to have that foundation level of protection so that you can protect your heart from getting hurt, but also just date more consciously and notice when people are not good fits for you so that you can stop investing time and energy into them. And that frees the door to you being able to spend that time and energy on someone who's actually a far better fit for you. And hopefully that will lead you closer to finding someone who is actually your life partner. But that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this video. I'm really glad that my buddy shared his dating experience with me because it basically was the catalyst for this video, and I truly hope that this video will help many of you out there. If any of it was unclear, please feel free to leave a comment down below and I can explain some of these things a bit better. Of course, when I'm making these videos, I always do it without a script, and it's just basically stream of consciousness, so there will probably be things I miss or things I don't quite explain on the level that I really want to, but hey, I think that's part of the beauty of being authentic and not having everything laid out. So yeah, but definitely let me know your thoughts on this, and feel free to share your experiences as well. I'd love to hear stories about how you were dating while broken but actually ended up creating good experiences, and maybe some things you've learned, maybe tips you have for other people. All of that would be welcome. So yeah, feel free to share it in the comments below. That is all I have for you guys. I truly hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Arrivederci.